We'll start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Stirairangaihi Stuštuvagum Sastanubihi Pyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastакshorarishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are doing the Mandukya Upanishad, and today is the 7th session of this beautiful Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad has a very, very important relevance in the entire study of Upanishad literature. It directly reveals to us our own nature, the nature of God, and the nature of the world, the universe in which we live. These are the three fundamental questions a student has when he enters the spiritual study. Who am I? What is the world? And who created this world? A very deep study of this text is possible after we understand the basic 12 mantras. There are many acharyas in the past who have dwelled on this text at very great lengths. Shankaracharya's great grand guru, Gaudapadacharya himself, has written a wonderful commentary on this text in Sanskrit. And a lot of acharyas, teachers, have written commentaries on that commentary. So you find acharyas from Ramakrishna Mission, Chinmaya Mission, many other colleges, institutions where they teach Vedanta and the scriptures. Many acharyas have written commentaries on this Upanishad. This Upanishad is a must. We can avoid other Upanishads, but not Mandukya Upanishad for our study. What we have done so far is verse number 1 to 4. Today we are going to start with the verse number 5. This Upanishad uses the methodology of avasta traya viveka. That is the fundamental process of inquiry, of vichara. What are the three states in which I live in this world? When I do this inquiry, this Upanishad also covers the three bodies which I have: the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. So that is the fundamental. This is how Mandukya Upanishad reveals our nature. It uses the three bodies it uses the three avastas to reveal who am I. Then there are two other methodologies which are used, prakriyas. They are called as prakriyas. One is called as karana karya prakriya, which is employed in the sleep state. And then another methodology is used, which is called as drishya viveka. When we cross over the sleep state, we try to ask ourselves, who is the witness of this sleep state? At that time, we have to use another method called as drishya viveka. So this is how I'm trying to approach this Mandukya Upanishad and reveal whatever it tells me about myself. Very, very fundamental in our study when we take up this Upanishad is, we must realize that we are a conscious entity. A conscious entity means an entity which knows that it exists and an entity which reveals itself. That is the fundamental principle on which this entire Mandukya Upanishad is based. I am of the nature of consciousness, and this nature of consciousness is self-revealing. Once we know that this is what I am, then I have to approach our three states and figure out how do the three states appear and how do they disappear. We have seen the waking state, we have seen the dream state. The waking state was explained in verse number 3, the dream state in verse number 4. And these states are states of the mind. They're projected from ignorance about my real nature. But fundamentally, there are two reasons. Number one is called as Mula Avidya, which means I don't know I am this pure consciousness. And the second is, because I don't know my nature, this waking state is projected. The dream state is projected. And these states are basically the states of the mind. They do not have any impact, or they are not a part of Atma. Atma, the consciousness principle, is the illuminating factor for all the three states. It is present all the time. It illumines the waking state, it illumines the dream state, it also illumines the sleep state. So I am that pure consciousness, unaffected by the three avastas, which come and go, they appear and they disappear. This is how we have studied so far. Today, let's take up verse number 5. And for this verse, This verse, in short, this verse number 5 and 6, they talk about the sleeper, the sleep state of consciousness. What does it say? Yatra sushupto na kanchana kamam kamayate na kanchana swapnam pashyati tats sushuptam. Sushuptasthana ekibhutaha pragyana ghanaha. This state of deep sleep is a state in which the mind has resolved. When the mind has resolved, what happens is there are no more desires for objects or beings for the individual. In the waking state, we all have desires because our sense organs are perceiving the sense objects. In the sleep state, there is no waking state and there is no dream state in the sleep state. These three states are independent of each other. That means they are mutually exclusive. You don't find the waking world in the dream state. You don't find the dream world in the waking state. You don't find both the waking world and the dream world in the sleep state. This is a very, very important aspect of our analysis of the sleep state. The sleep state is very, very well dissected, and it has a tremendous impact on the study of Vedanta. A lot of time has been spent by acharyas to explain and understand what is this sleep state. With this analysis of the sleep state, they were able to understand the waking and the dream. Therefore, we must be very clear what is this sleep state, which is explained in the 5th and the 6th verse. If you have any questions, please ask me, and then you can put your questions in the chat mode, or you can ask questions directly. This sleep state is called as the 3rd quarter. We have 4 quarters to explain Atma. 3 quarters. The first quarter is the Jagrat Avasta, the waking state. The second quarter is the dream state. The third quarter is the sleep state. And for understanding purposes, we have already seen the 2 names which were given in the other 2 states. Just to recall, in the waking state, the individual is called as Vishwa. And the world which he is experiencing, the totality, is called as Virat. That is one pair of experiences in one state. In the dream state, we got 2 names. The first name is for the individual, which is the microcosm, and the name was Taijasa. Taijasa means it is my name. It is the individual's name when he is experiencing a dream world. And the world represents Hiranyagarbha, the totality of all the objects and beings which are experienced in the dream world, Hiranyagarbha. See, these names are given so that we can understand how to dissect my own mind and see the core of my own personality. In the third state, the name given for the individual who is a sleeper is pragya, and the totality is given the name Ishwara. It is the same Atma which is appearing as these 6 names. One consciousness principle, it appears as the waker and the waking world, the dreamer and the dream world, the sleeper and the sleep world of ignorance. One consciousness, one Atma, that consciousness is called as Turiyam, which we will see the description in the 7th mantra. It is the same consciousness which is an invariable factor. That is why we call it as immanent. Immanent means it is present all the time. In the past, in the present, and in the future. All our past avastas, waking time, it is available changelessly. I'm now talking about Atma, the consciousness. The same consciousness is illumining my dream world, because there is no other light which can illumine the mind in dream. The dream experience which we have is the best example which we can ever think about to understand that we are a conscious principle. And that consciousness is the light, the chit factor, chaitanyam nature, which is revealing the mind with vasanas in the dream. In the waking also, it is the same consciousness which is revealing the mind, but it is not easy for us to understand this consciousness in the waking state. But it is easy for us to understand and know the light of consciousness. This light of consciousness is ever evident, always self-evident. It doesn't require any other cause. This Atma is our core personality. It is of the nature of illumination. There is nothing in the world which can illumine our thoughts in the mind. Nothing. This is a fundamental principle of Vedanta. If you understand these principles, Mandukya Upanishad is extremely easy. If you don't know how to apply a particular methodology in these 12 mantras, you will get totally lost. So the methodology of teaching and understanding is extremely important. So this light of consciousness is invariable, immanent. These are the English words we use to say that it doesn't change. It remains the same. But the beauty of this consciousness is it is not only immanent, it remains the same. It illumines the 3 states. The beauty of this consciousness is it can exist by itself when the mind has gone to sleep. This is a fundamental law of consciousness, of the nature of consciousness, which the rishis have discovered. They have taught to us that this is the way in which you try to understand your own nature, which is immortal, which never dies. It never gets born, it never dies. That is my real nature. But what is the wrong notion I have about myself? I have a wrong notion that the body is born, I am the body. The second wrong notion is body is me. I am the body, body is me, body is for me. We make a mistake about our identification with this body. What Mandukya Upanishad is teaching us is there is a possibility that you are not the body. Inquire. Study the three states. Then you will open up a new dimension which you have never known about yourself. And that dimension is this consciousness. We have never analyzed deeply, who am I? So in this third pada, pragya is the name given for the individual in the sleep. We are talking about the deep sleep experience in which there is nothing we experience except that we feel there is nothing, it's all blank. And what they say about this deep sleep, it's prajnana ghanaha. It is an undifferentiated state. It is a homogeneous mass of consciousness. And it is the cause. See, if you see, it is the gateway for the projection of the two other planes of consciousness. This is a very, very important point. What it says here is that this sleep state is the seed state. You see, for a tree to grow, you can have a huge banyan tree with fruits and huge. We have seen this example in chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita. But the whole tree can be seen, can be imagined coming out of a seed, small seed, insignificant. It looks insignificant. But the whole tree can come out. Similarly, from this insignificant sleep state, what the rishis have discovered is the whole universe in the waking state, the whole universe of the dream state, both are the effect. They are the products coming out from the sleep state. The cause is the sleep. Sleep in Vedanta means ignorance. I don't know myself. I don't know the world. I don't have any personality in the sleep. I'm not a person. I no longer remain as a person in sleep state. And the entire waking world becomes unmanifest in the sleep state, in the seed state, which is called as the sleep. And the seed state is called as ajnanam or mula avidya. It is from this mula avidya the waking and the dream spring up. We have, so the world which we experience is into manifestation, goes into unmanifestation in sleep. Again, it comes to manifestation in the waking state, again goes into unmanifestation in the sleep state. That is what is trying to be revealed in this fifth mantra. Very, very important mantra for us to analyze. If we understand this mantra and the next mantra well, we have understood the entire Mandukya Upanishad, because the fifth and the sixth mantras are very, very critical. The sleeper eye is what we say is the ego eye, which is in the sleep state. And it functions through the karana shariram. You see, now the bodies are brought in. We understand a state of experience with reference to a particular body which we possess. In the waking state, the emphasis was given to the gross body, the gross sense organs, and the gross world which is experienced. In the dream state, it was the subtle body and the subtle world of objects. In this state, it is the causal body. You see, all our knowledge about Tattva Bodha now is coming to use. That's why the study of Tattva Bodha is very critical. That is why we always stress any new student that you study Tattva Bodha first. You will learn the basics of how to approach the spiritual science. Once you have learned the art of approaching a particular subject matter, then it is easy. So this causal body is our focus of attention in the third state, which is the sushupti avasta. And what is the condition in which we find ourselves in the sushupti avasta? The attributes are resolved. The attributes of the mind are resolved. I don't have any raga, I don't have any dvesha, I don't have any anger, I don't have jealousy. All the attributes of the mind, they go to sleep. They lie in a dormant potential condition, passive condition. They are not destroyed, but they remain unmanifest. This is a very, very important point brought about by Vedanta. It reveals the nature of the mind. The mind goes into manifestation, the mind goes into unmanifestation. This is the nature of Prakrti, the Panchabhutas. Whenever we say Prakrti, it means the five elements, the nature. So the nature of five elements is that it can be in two conditions. In a manifest condition, which we call it as waking or dream, unmanifest condition, which we call it as sleep. So the sleep state is a state of the mind. It is not that the mind is destroyed, but the mind is negated. The one who is identified with that state is a limited I. Limited I means the ego I. I am the indweller in this body. I am the ego. Ego means I am the waker I, the dreamer I, or the sleeper I. All of us, we say, I had a good sleep. I had a good sleep last night because I enjoyed the passive state of my own mind. And when the mind is in an unmanifest condition, the sense organs are also withdrawn from the world. See how beautiful this God has created this jiva, each individual. What I mean, it's unimaginable what type of mind God has. He has brought in an experiencer into this body, which we call it as the mind with reflected consciousness, which we call it as purely the jiva. I am a jiva. There is a soul which is in this body. That jiva is undergoing pleasure and pain while interacting with the world. Through the sense organs, the pleasure and pain are felt by the jiva. This creation is wonderful. Through the body, through the sense organs, it is the jiva, the soul, who is here in this body. He does so many things in the lifetime. One is a great musician, one is a great painter, one is a great scientist. Stephen Hawking, he could do research. His mind was working even till 1 week before he died. And he discovered new laws of the cosmos, of the theory of the theory of how the cosmos goes and into a black hole. Stephen Hawking was an expert on this black hole theory. See, the human mind is so powerful. Irrespective of the condition of the physical body, very powerful. Our human mind can go into tremendous depths of this universe. And this is what the rishis did. When they went into this analysis of the three states, they discovered a completely new phenomena of consciousness. And they came out with this beautiful subject matter called the reality. This reality which never dies, this reality which never gets born, this reality which is always there. It is eternal. It is there in the three states of consciousness. It is there. It is consciousness. And all of us can realize this consciousness because it is my nature. All I have to do is understand these mantras properly, apply it to myself, and then you can also reveal and enjoy the same Ananda, the happiness, the ultimate happiness which is possible in this universe. Is this Atma Ananda. Now, the ego I, the mind, is what is called as the limited I. It has the Atma has got no time and no location. Very important point. If you want to discover your nature, you must go to a particular point in your own mind where you discover there is no time. That is why in the first mantra of Mandukya Upanishad, it was said that my nature is timeless. There is a principle of timelessness in this universe, and that principle is consciousness. Timeless, that means there is no, it is ever there. You can approach timelessness as always existing. That is all nitya surupaha. It is always there. At no time you will find this consciousness is not there. So this timeless conscious doesn't have any location also. When you don't have time, according to Einstein, if you don't have time and space are connected. So if there is time and space in Jagrat, in waking state, and in my real nature, I don't have any time or space. I exist all by myself. That is what is the revelation of the Upanishads. I must be able to understand the difference between the two. So the technical name, I'm going slow in these verses because I want you to follow the logic of understanding these mantras. They have a tremendous amount of logic, and these are all revelations of our own nature. If you follow the path of inquiry, this path of inquiry, then it is easy for us to reach the final destination. So the two names which we said, one for the individual sleeper, it is the mind. It is the, you see, whenever we give a name to myself, in the three states, I am given three names: Vishwa, Taijasa, Pragya, I. So I don't have any more name. I am Vishnu, I am Rama, I am Sita. That names are all for the body. Here we are talking about the consciousness, that pure nature of mind. How does it appear in the three states? In order for us to experience that consciousness in the three states, these three names are given. These are all meant for us to ultimately reach the pure state of consciousness where there is no time. So, Pragya and Ishwara. And it is the third quarter. Pragya is the individual, the name of the individual mind in sleep state. Suppose you say, I am sleeping, I had a good sleep. It was the individual. You as an individual person has gone to sleep. When I say individual person, it basically refers to your mind, my mind. I have gone to sleep means my mind has gone to sleep. Consciousness has not gone to sleep. Consciousness is the illuminating factor of the mind in sleep. Very, very important factor. Don't miss this point. Because this is a very important, vital point, that in the state of sleep, there is an illuminating principle. We all experience blankness in sleep. We all experience ignorance in sleep. What the Upanishad is telling us is there is a knowing principle behind the ignorance. Behind the blankness, there is a knower. That knower is the pure consciousness. Tattvamasi, when the Guru tells us or teaches us, Tattvamasi, Tat there stands for this consciousness, which is the illuminator of the sleep state. We have to reach that state to know that I am that. When the Guru is telling us, you are Brahman, you are that, that refers to the principle of consciousness, the illuminating factor, which is responsible for the illumination of the three states. We all have a body. This body and mind is limited. This body and mind has got an ignorance about itself. This is called as the individual ignorance, the mind. Individual mind's ignorance is called as avidya in Sanskrit. And what is Mula Vidya? Mula Vidya means it is the total ignorance. Ignorance about my real nature, which is Satchit Ananda, which is pure consciousness. You see, if I don't know I am that pure consciousness, which can exist without the body, which can exist without the mind, if I don't know that, then I am an ignorant person. Spiritually ignorant. We are talking about spiritual ignorance, not the physical world ignorance. There are two types of ignorances. The physical world ignorance is basically coming because we don't know certain objects in nature. That is a field of science. The scientists, they look at the external world. And if I don't know physics or chemistry or psychology, these are all external. Here we are talking about knowing my nature. Who am I? This is the spiritual ignorance, which is called as Mula Avidya. So in this sleep state, they'd say that this is a state where one does not desire an object. Why? Because the mind is not functioning. See, this is how the rishis, they have discovered the nature of the mind. It is the mind which is desiring. It is the mind which is desiring in the waking and in this dream state. But in the sleep state, this mind has become passive. It has gone into the Karana Shariram, causal body. Many people ask me, what is this causal body? In the Tattva Bodha class, the most difficult aspect in Tattva Bodha, the first text which we do, at that time, the main problem of all the students is, what is this causal body? I can understand the subtle body because it is the mind. I can understand the physical body because I can see it. But causal body, I don't know. Mandukya Upanishad is a speciality. It reveals a causal body very efficiently. If you go through the Karikas, if you go through the other mantras which are there in the commentary of Gaudapadacharya, you will be amazed at the depth of this sleep state analysis. I have read 2,000 pages of a book which describes the three states of consciousness, waking, dream, and sleep. How much research is available? Research material is available on these three states. You'll be amazed. So many teachers, acharyas have written books on these three states, running into thousands of pages, analyzing these three states, and with the goal of revelation of this consciousness. Remember, this consciousness is our own state. I am trying to discover this diamond in me, this pure, precious aspect of mine. If I'm able to get a glimpse of it, if I can reveal that to myself, I have fulfilled my life, and the happiness I can get out of this discovery cannot be expressed in words. That is the truth. It is the truth of myself. It is the truth of God. It is the truth of the world. This consciousness awareness principle is the God. It is God in me. In this body, there is God available, but I have to search and discover this God principle through the analysis of these three states. Kamyate iti kamna. The desirer, kama means three things. Desirer is also called as kama. Desire is also called as kama. And the object of desire is also called as kama. In Sanskrit, kama can be used for all three. So the one who is desiring things in the waking state, that jiva is not desiring anything in sleep state. Na kanchana swapnam pashyati. So in the sleep state, one does not experience swapna. That means they are two exclusive planes of consciousness. In the dream world, we don't experience the waking world. All the waking trees and mountains and rivers and the whole universe which we see, nothing is available in the dream. And whatever is available in the dream, which we experience so well, is nothing is available to us in the waking. It goes away the moment we get up in the morning, the whole dream world goes away. In sushupti, na kanchan kamam kamayate. There is no waker or dreamer in the sleep state. So sushupti is a state where there is no universe of objects. One who has gone to sleep, his address, his sphere of activity is called as eki bhutaha. What does the sleeper experience? That is being described. He becomes one. The being becomes one. It becomes ekam. Prajnanam. What is the meaning of prajnanam? The knowledge which was flowing out through the mind and senses and experiencing the objects. That mind, the gates of the mind are closed. The gates of the sense organs are closed in the sleep state. Therefore, that pure consciousness, the knowledge which is hidden in the sleep state, doesn't have a gateway. Consciousness is there. It is always present, but it always requires a medium. It requires the body and the mind. That is the purpose of this entire physical body. For each one of us, nature puts together the conglomerate of the body. All the elements, they come together and form the body. They form the different organs in the body. The mind is a subtle body also. It is made up of 5 elements. It's again put together. It's all, the body is a constituent of different factors. We have seen that in the other mantras, 4th and the 5th mantras, 19 constituents of the subtle body and the gross body. So the gateway is closed. Consciousness is inside is gathered at one place. For example, in the waking, what happens is that consciousness gets dispersed. That light gets dispersed into various different objects and beings outside. When the light of consciousness through the mind, through the sense organs, in the waking state, it gets dispersed. And then we are able to see this knowledge of the world. We get the knowledge of the world. But that knowledge comes back. That means there is a layam, there is a resolution of that knowledge back into itself. That is what is called as the sleep state. This is what is called as the manifestation, unmanifestation of the human mind. All the living beings undergo this phenomena. Prajnana ghana eva. It has become a mass, a single mass of consciousness in the sleep state. Anandamayo he becomes Anandamaya, Swarupa, not Ananda itself. See, what we call as happiness is Atma's Ananda. Very important point in Vedanta again. You must know what is the difference between happiness and joy with reference to Vedanta. Okay, in English, you can equate all of them as happiness. But in Vedanta specifically, when you study Taittiriya Upanishad, you have a series of experiences of happiness, grades of joy. The grades of happiness are all with reference to the sense organs and the sense objects. There is a grade which is possible when we are talking about Vishaya Ananda. Vishaya Ananda means the happiness we get out of objects of the world. But Atma's Ananda, that pure consciousness also has a nature. That nature is what is called as the real happiness. Whereas in sleep, what we experience is a Ananda Mayaha. Mayaha means it is a Adhyasa. It means it is a reflected Ananda. Why is it reflected? Because the causal body is full of ignorance. It doesn't know itself. This is what is also called as the Maya Shakti. The causal body is another name of causal body is Maya Shakti. So this causal body has got ignorance. It doesn't know itself. It doesn't know the world. That it doesn't know consciousness is the real nature. There is something called as consciousness, which is beyond this ignorance, beyond this sleep state. So this is covered. This is nature. This is how nature is built, the mind for us. So the jiva in sleep is consciousness withdrawn from the mind and senses, and it has become one mass of consciousness at one place of the mind. Wherever the mind is, that place is withdrawn from the world. Suppose you just go off to sleep in the afternoon for 2 hours or half an hour. You doze off. What happens is you've withdrawn that light of consciousness from the sense organs to the mind. From the mind, it has gone into one mass. Therefore, what happens is that Atma, which is the pure light of consciousness, that which is the real knowledge principle, that does not flow out. This is a very, very important point, because in Vedanta we say that knowledge, Atma cannot reveal the world directly. It reveals the mind first. That is why we experience the mind. As soon as we get up in the morning, we are all self-aware first. That self-awareness is nothing else but the light of consciousness falling in the mind. After we are self-aware, then we become aware of the world. So self-awareness is the light of consciousness falling in the mind, which is called as Chidabhasa. And this Chidabhasa does not go out in the sleep state. And this is what is called as Anandamaya Bhuk. The experiencer of Ananda in the sleep state is this sleeper, the ego I. Nirasayahi, I am sthitahi. Effortless state, there is no struggle. All of us go to sleep without any effort. I have only one wish: when I switch off my light, I want to sleep. That's all. So this is a condition of my mind. I tell my mind I want to sleep. I don't want anything to do with the world. Immediately the mind listens to you and then it withdraws and then you're off to sleep. No agitations in the mind, no desires disturbing you in the sleep state. Therefore, when there are no desires, they have said this state is a state of desirelessness. So, sushupti is a state in which there is no disturbances of desires which are possible in the dream or in sleep or in the waking. See, why we analyze the sleep state is slowly the Upanishad is trying to help us go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into our own personality. Mandukya Upanishad, the depth of this Mandukya Upanishad, you'll be amazed at the depth. If you study some of these commentaries, I'll be putting some pages in my website also on the study of Vichara Sagara, which has got almost like 2,000 pages of analysis of this 3 states. It's going to come in the next 2-3 months. 2-3 months, you'll find a tremendous amount of material available on the analysis of the 3 states. Very, very deep and very beautiful analysis. Comes in Vichara Sagara. If you get a chance, you can go through that study. Cheto Mukhaha. Cheto Mukhaha means it is the gateway to knowledge. In the other 2 states, it's a gateway to knowledge. That means the sleep state is the causal state, is the cause of the waking, it's a cause of the dream. This is a very, very fine point we must understand. From sleep, a person wakes up. Therefore, we say it's a door to either the dream or to the waking. Many a time when we do the analysis, we should start from this sleep state. Understand who am I in the sleep state, and then we understand that waking or dream much, much better. We make a mistake of taking the waking as the reference point. Because in the waking, our main problem is we are identified with this body. That's a basic mistake. So in order to do this inquiry, I always suggest that people look at the sleep state, imagine what you are in your sleep state without a body, but you exist. So as you exist, what form do you exist? Who am I in this sleep state? Is there me existing? If that me is existing in the sleep state, can it be the state of mind which is an eternal state? In the sleep state, I don't see my body. I don't see my mind. Can it be? Ask this question to yourself. Is there a possibility that there is an aspect about myself I don't know? The Upanishad is trying to teach me a possibility which exists. Let me inquire. If I am experiencing it day and night, every day I experience this sleep state. Let me understand what is this sleep state, understand the nature of the sleep state. Then it will open the door to Atma and reveal to us that I have a nature which I didn't know before. This nature of mine is eternal. It is called as Turiyam. It is called as the pure state of mind. Like water has got 3 forms, this consciousness also has 3 forms. You can say waking, dream, and sleep. These are like the water, ice, and the solid form. These are the 3 forms. Solidified consciousness can be waking state. Semi-solidified is the dream state. The liquid form is the sleep state. And then the pure form is the consciousness, which is my real nature. Is there a possibility? Yes. That is what the Upanishad says. Look and study yourself and discover that nature in yourself and be free from this body and mind. That's all. When we do this study, what happens? Suddenly I discover that I am a free person. Till now, I have been thinking this body is me, mind is me. And here is a Upanishad which tells me that this body is not me, because it is not seen in the sleep state. It is not experienced in the sleep state. And beyond the sleep state, there is a principle which is revealing this entire mind. And that is self-evident. Self-evident means it doesn't need anything. It is not of the nature of five elements. The five elements have got the nature of manifestation, unmanifestation, changing, all that happens in the material aspect of mind. But I am the pure spirit, which is always there, which is transcendent. And two principles, two words, I always say this in with reference to Atma. I should always remember that I am an independent principle which is transcendental. Transcendental means it can exist on its own. The pure consciousness can exist. I can exist on my own. I lend the consciousness for the mind to experience the world. I am the existence and consciousness. I lend the existence and consciousness to the mind, individual mind, each one of us. Our minds are different, but the consciousness is the same. I have several notes on this fifth mantra itself. So what I will do is I will stop here with this slide number for page number 44. I will continue this next week. We will quickly do a short meditation, and I will come back to this study of the sleep state again next week. Whatever we have learned, let it ring in your mind again and again. Understand. You can even analyze and inquire this. Whatever we have studied, apply to yourself, because that is the nature of this study. Let me apply. I have understood the three states. Waking state, it is a state in which the sense organs are functioning, the mind is functioning. I experience the physical body. That is the definition of the waking state. Dream state, I don't experience the physical body, I experience only the mind. The mind has got certain vasanas, it is projecting it. And what is the illuminator? Consciousness. That is the dream state. What happens in the sleep state? The mind is also gone to sleep. It is not functioning like it is in the waking or in the dream. It is withdrawn. That withdrawn condition of the mind is called as the sleep state. It is a Shakti, Nidra Shakti. It is a power. All of us, whether we are all human beings. All human beings have this power of Nidra. Nidra means the Shakti, the power to sleep. It is a power which is inbuilt by nature in every body. Even animals go to sleep. This is a universal power. So when that power is manifesting, we experience waking and dream. Unmanifesting this power, we experience sleep state. So much we have studied this week. We'll continue the study next week. A very beautiful analysis for those who are interested in very deep study. If you want to study this text very deeply, I can suggest a few things, but it has to be a self-study, because this will take a long time if you have to study all the Karika mantras. But anyway, let's continue next week. Okay. Oh. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I have a few questions in the chat box. Naren is asking, if in deep sleep state there is absolute ignorance and it is the seed of waking and dream, why does the physical body go into heaviness or inert or tamasic state when this sleep goes beyond a certain time? What is the relationship of sleep consciousness to the physical nature of sleep? Okay. A couple of questions he has asked. Okay, let me go one by one. So the first question is, why does the physical body goes into inert or tamasic state? That's the first question. You have answered the question yourself. There is a guna called as tamas in this body. Our body is made up of a Shakti called as Maya Shakti. This Maya Shakti has got Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, explained very beautifully in the chapter 14 of the Gita. So, this Prakrti, nature, has got one of the gunas which is called as Tamas. So, the body which is made up of 5 elements is born out of the 5 elements. The 5 elements have got the nature of tamas. Whatever is in the cause will come in the effect. Gold is the cause, chain is an effect. Chain is nothing but another form of gold. So similarly, the elements which the body made up of the 5 elements has got the nature of tamas. Tamas means what? Tamas means it is a condition of the 5 elements in which there is no action and there is no knowledge. Sattva stands for knowledge, Rajas stands for action, and Tamas stands for inertia. All the objects in the world are predominantly tamasic objects. The human beings have got a higher percentage of tamas as one of the constituents. Therefore, the body sleeps. Body takes a rest. If there was no sleep condition, it would have been disastrous. I mean, this is the nature. That's why I appreciate Lord. You see, look at Lord, what a beautiful creation he has brought. And if you really study what the creation is, you'll really be amazed at the nature of God. So the first question I've answered is, the physical body goes into condition because of the nature of Prakrti, which is Maya. Maya is three gunas. What is the relationship of sleep consciousness to the physical nature of sleep? See, whenever we say physical nature of sleep, you should understand very important point. There is no physical nature of sleep. It is always referring to the mind, the condition of the mind. When the mind goes to sleep, it withdraws the awareness from the physical body to itself. The consciousness, Atma, is always revealing the nature of the mind. first. That is the first level of awareness which comes into the body. It is the mind which goes off to sleep. It's the mind which wakes up. It is the consciousness which is revealing the nature of the mind. When you say the body goes to sleep, actually what it means is the mind. We say body goes to sleep. What we mean is the subtle body goes to sleep. When the subtle mind goes to sleep, it withdraws the sense or the power of the sense organs. It withdraws from the golakas, that means from the sense organs, the external sense organs, the power from that is withdrawn by the mind. That when the withdrawal of the power of the sense organs takes place, it is called as the sleep condition of the mind. So one point you should be very clear, consciousness doesn't go to sleep, mind goes to sleep. When the mind goes to sleep, the power of the sense organs are withdrawn. This is the technical aspect. You should be very clear because many people get caught up understanding the nature of the body. Now, the next question, if Ishwara is the macrocosm, consciousness, macrocosm, you should remember, is a reflection of consciousness in the macro body of Ishwara, which is again physical. And then the second part you are saying is connects to the heart space with an experience of Ananda. Can you explain to me, if you're still around, Naren, can you, I will unmute you. Can you explain to me the last portion of your question?
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, Naren. Yeah, tell me.
So it was in continuation with the second question. So if there is actually, it is the macrocosm consciousness is connecting to the heart space and Ananda, it means it is closer to realization than the waking, right?
Yes.
So in that case, my question was also connected to the first point. In that case, why is it tamasvik? That was the question. Why does the body feel this inertness when it is closer to actually the realization state?
Oh, okay. See, the body is, okay, there is an element of ignorance in this Maya. You see, it is closed, but then it is veiled by Maya. That is why we call it tamas. You see, Maya has got the covering nature and the projecting nature. So the sleep state, what happens is the projecting nature of Maya has withdrawn. And the covering nature is still there in the sleep state. Therefore, the Ananda which you experience in the sleep state is a kosha Ananda. It is still a covering. It is a reflected Ananda. Kosha Ananda means it is reflected Ananda. That means in the causal body, in the Karana Shariram. See, we are all in the sleep state. When we are in the sleep state, we say that we are in the Karana Shariram. We means what? I, the Jiva, who is in the waking state. Now I have withdrawn from the waking state. I go into my seed state, which is the Karana Shariram. When I am in that body, which is the Karana Shariram, that state is called as Karana Avasta. Now, in that, the state in which I am in the subtle body is the dream state. That is in between the waking state and the sleep state. There is an in-between state where the sense organs are not functioning, only the mind is functioning. Now, the Karana Shariram is the closest to Atma. It is very, very close to Atma. The only thing which is covering that is ignorance about the nature of the sleep state. The moment I know that I am there in the sleep state, not as this Karana Shariram, I drop the ignorance of the Karana Shariram. I look at myself and turn my mind in the direction of the revealer of the Karana Shariram. When I turn the direction to the revealer of the Karana Shariram, Aham Brahmasmi happens. I am that pure consciousness without any malam, without any ignorance, without any impurity. That Ananda is called as the real Ananda, which is called as happiness. Whereas the Ananda, which is born out of a reflection of that consciousness in the Karana Shariram, or in the Ananda, which is born out of the contacts of the sense organs with the sense objects, these are all inferior, ephemeral Ananda, fleeting. The moment so this has got nothing to do with the material world. This Atma Ananda is, which is realized when we create that inner space between Atma and the mind. It exists. One has to become just aware of that inner space. In that inner space is this pure nature of happiness. The moment you discover this happiness, all the joy which you get out of the fleeting nature of the sense organs gets, you feel that they are nothing compared to this. So the macro, you see, your question is very deep question, good question. Still go into the depth, keep thinking that the pure Atma is the ultimate joy. There is no joy in the world of sense objects and the sense organs. Neither in the Karana Shariram, because the Karana Shariram, the joy of sleep again is lost. Because of what? Because of prarabdha karma. Karma pushes you to waking state again. Again, you come back and again you get into the process of waking and enjoying those sense objects, and again you go back to sleep, again you get up in the morning, again you sleep. This is a cycle. So this nature of the mind to withdraw itself, it's a phenomenon. It happens, and the experience of Ananda is of a totally different type when you talk about Atma. It is something, it is a personal experience. So I'm sure you as you study further and further, there are a few more notes which I need to share with you. I think once I share, it will become more and more clear. Okay.
Thank you.
Shekharji,
Yes.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
So the Vishwa experience the Virat. The Tejasva experience the Hiranyagarbha. So basically both exist. I am the waker experiences in the waking world himself.
Exactly.
Vishwa.
Yes.
In the last phase, in the pragya, you have mentioned Ishwara.
Yes.
Why it is in English it is deep sleep and absolute void.
Yes.
So why Ishwara have been added in the notes or in the script or in the scriptures?
Just wait for the next verse where you will realize.
Okay.
In the next verse, the description of Ishwara is given, and in the deep sleep state, what happens is, I as an individual, I can go to the depth of my own personality and say I am pragya. Up to that point, I can reach and I can say that Sakshi, Jiva Sakshi is there. That means as an individual, there is a Jiva Sakshi. But the Upanishad doesn't stop there. It also tells me that there is a Ishwara Sakshi. When I look at the prapanchas, you see, prapancha means the Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Ishwara. That is another, when I look at the totality, At the total level, what is happening? At the individual level, you are very clear. I am the Vishwa. I become the pragya. From Vishwa, I go to Taijasa. From Taijasa, I go to pragya. That is clear. This, you have to extend that to, from Virat, it goes to Hiranyagarbha, Hiranyagarbha to Ishwara. Ishwara is the Karana Prapancha. Like I have a Karana Shariram at the individual level. Ishwara is basically the Karana Prapancha. That means the whole Prapancha gets dissolved into this Ishwara.
Which itself is ignorance.
Which is again ignorance, which is also ignorance, which is the Mula Vidya, which is called as Mula Vidya. That is called as Maya.
So,
That Ishwara is basically Maya Shakti.
Maya Shakti.
Yes. So that Maya Shakti, what the Upanishad is going to say in the next mantra is this pragya, which is the ignorance, avidya at the individual state, it becomes one with that Maya. In the next mantra, it will say.
Yeah.
So it will equate that at the ignorance level, me and the Ishwara at that Karana Sharira level, we become one.
I was very satisfied till your explanation that the mind has withdrawn its senses and there is absolute void or darkness or
Yes.
blankness, no experience.
Yes.
So, but moment it came to Ishwara, I got a bit not confused, but I was just sort of wondering what was the necessity.
Yeah, the necessity is this mind does not exist by itself. You're missing that point. Mind is this mind, my mind, when I say it is a part of the total mind of Hiranyagarbha.
Okay.
My mind is not independent. It is a part of the total mind of the whole creator.
The collective consciousness.
Yes, it is a collective consciousness. You see, like for example, in the waking state, I am Vishwa. Vishwa is a name only given to me when as an individual body. But the individual body has no existence at all without the total body. There is always a connection of like the prana shakti in me is dependent on the total prana, the Vayu Tattvam. The body is made up of 5 elements. It depends on the earth element, which is the totality, which is the Virat. So similarly, the subtle body is a small portion. It depends on the total mind. It's a part of the total mind. You can never separate the two. Similarly, in pragya, when this individual mind goes to sleep, the karana shariram, this is a part of the total karana shariram, the whole cosmos. You cannot separate it.
So, yeah, I've understood. I've understood. I have just a question. I can wait till somebody else has any other, just to digress a bit, but I'll wait till somebody.
No, but this is a very, very important question.
I've understood this.
You know, what you are raising, Deepak, is a very important point. Many people, they miss this point. That prajna, that is what is going to be said in the next mantra, that prajna is merges with the Ishwara. That is what is the next mantra. If you read the next mantra, the 6th mantra, it will say that prajna is one with Ishwara. At the level, see, this is where the karanam and cause, the karyam and karanam, it ends at the level of karana sharira.
The causal body is part of the deep sleep state.
Yes, causal body is a part of the deep sleep state. It is only it is called as avidya. It is called as, actually, really speaking, it is nothing but a shakti. It is just a power. You see, it is the individual power is called as prajna. The total power is called as Ishwara. It is only a shakti. Shakti means what? It's a power. Like I have a nidra shakti. The power to sleep. So the power to sleep is nidra shakti. The total power of the whole cosmos to go to sleep is the maya shakti. So this Nidra Shakti and Maya Shakti are not two different Shaktis. They are the same Shaktis
Manifesting as
expressed
sleep.
as in two different bodies. In the individual body, it is called as Nidra Shakti. The same Shakti, when it is in the overall cosmos, when the whole Prapancha can go to sleep, that means the earth gets resolved into water, the water gets resolved into fire, the fire gets resolved into air, air gets resolved into space. There is a laya process which happens. And this is what is the upasana they suggest for those people who don't have this clear understanding of the Karana Sharira. In the Vichara Sagara, they ask you to do this Laya Upasana. What you should do, I will probably take up this in one of the meditation sessions. And I will explain to you how to do the Layam. That means I try to resolve the whole creation into space, and from space, the space goes into Atma. Space is born out of Atma. Taittiriya Upanishad very clearly says that the space is born out of Atma. So there is a resolution process and there is a creation process. Once you meditate on these two processes, your mind will get the strength. It picks up the strength, it becomes more strong to understand what lies beyond this Karana Sharira.
The dissolution state is through the process of deep sleep.
Yes, it is through the understanding of the deep sleep state.
Deep sleep is the dissolution process of the entire...
dissolution process of the whole cosmos.
And that is Ishwara.
And that is Ishwara.
Ishwara.
And in that, you see, Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad clearly states that I, the Jiva, every day I am with God. I am with that total principle, which is that creation, you know, the oneness is with Ishwara. In deep sleep state, I am one with Ishwara is said in the next mantra.
So I've understood. Why I asked was that in all the three states, consciousness exists in all the three states.
Yes, and I also exist.
That big,
yes.
That big I, is that is being called Ishwara? No, that's what I wanted to.
No, that big I is not called Ishwara. It is still in the realm of matter.
Matter.
But there is this consciousness which is the pure I, which is not in the realm of matter, which is beyond Ishwara, beyond pragya. That is my real state. That is the real state of the entire universe.
And that is called Brahman.
That is called Brahman or Turiyam.
Or Turiyam.
Yes.
That's it.
The moment you cross over Maya, then you will be able to understand Turiyam. Very good. Anybody else has a question? Okay, there are some more questions. Thank you. I have to go. Kindly enlighten me whether autistic person has any connections of awareness in three states. It is, Lakshmi is asking this, whether autistic person has any, okay, Lakshmi, are you still in the, can you please ask me this on, I'll unmute you and then you can ask this. Are you there, Lakshmi? Lakshmi or Ranga? Okay, if he's not there, what I want to tell you is that you can come and ask me this question. You can write to me in WhatsApp. I can talk to you on this separately also. The answer to this is any connections of awareness in the three states. It is the awareness is ultimately pure.
It's the same awareness, sir.
It is one awareness in all the human beings. So there is no change in the awareness in any person, whether you are autistic, whether you are, disturbed in your mind, you are, see, these are all physical ailments of the either the body or either of the sense organs or of the mind. The ailments are with reference to the body only, never to do with Atma. They are as pure as us. In terms of realization of the awareness principle, it is still possible for them to realize themselves if they go through this type of study. That's why I want to discuss with you in what connection you're asking. I can go on private and I can explain to you. But in general, what I would like to say it is that there is no connection of awareness of the three states, whether you are autistic or not. It is not. There is no, it doesn't make any difference, because the elimination principle is the same. The mind waking up, going to dream, going to sleep is also the same. Therefore, it is a common experience of awareness. But there could be physical conditions or ailments to do with the physical organs, or sometimes it is also with the mind. How to cross this Maya? I missed, maybe, can we have an analogy of awareness? Is electricity in bulbs, Jiva? Okay. Akshay, see, awareness, there is no example
I'm feeling better already.
Which is available to say, which is equivalent to awareness. There's nothing. That is why they say, yato vacho, all the words, they go back. Whenever we describe this consciousness, we can't do it, because there is nothing which is equivalent to consciousness. It's a non-dual principle. In simple terms, to explain to you, yes, it is like the electricity. It is like the electricity behind the bulb. This consciousness is, or awareness is, like the electricity, like the power, like the petrol behind the car, like the electricity behind the bulbs. This consciousness can be compared like that with reference to the body and mind. Okay, your other question of how to cross this Maya is a very, very big question. The only way to cross this Maya is knowledge. Study the Upanishads. Clear understanding of the Upanishads will help you to clear this Maya.
And that's what they say in Advaita Vedanta.
Yes.
That so knowledge, you cut through the ignorance.
It is only knowledge.
Jnana here.
Jnanam. Because it is pure knowledge of who you are. And I have gone through some of these talks where they are able to express to us and make us realize that this is Atma.
Sir, we do much Shravana, but we stuck at contemplation, means Manana and Nididhyasana.
Yes.
Yeah.
The more, you see, what will happen, Akshay, is as you do more and more deeper Shravanam, Mananam will start automatically. It will start automatically, believe me. The moment your depth of Atma increases, the depth of the study increases. It will increase when you study deeper and deeper texts. You have done Vivek Chodamani, you have done Upanishad, let the study go on. What will happen is, this will lead to Mananam. Mananam automatically will lead to Dhyanam. And Dhyanam ultimately will lead to realization. It is an automatic process which happens in spiritual study. You don't have to worry about it. Just keep on going with your study. Keep listening more and more. Mananam will increase. It will lead to Dhyanam. Your own mind will say, now I want to sit down and experience this Atma in me. That state in which the mind pushes you and says, let me understand this pure consciousness. I'm not going to leave it. This is my own challenge. Yeah,
where the witness observer principles becomes your second nature.
Yes.
You, while living in this Maya, become aware of your true nature.
Yes.
And as Raman Maharishi and other sages have said, that it does not preclude you from diseases, ravages of age and death.
Yes.
So self-realized people, they live in this principle of awareness.
Yes.
While living in this body and experiencing this world.
That's
so
correct.
It's not that sudden self-realization leads to some greater.
No. It's a very simple thing. You see,
it's the second nature of this awareness.
Yes. You see, what happens is, I was mentioning that to you about the inner space. That inner space is the space between Sakshi and the mind. The moment you become aware of that inner space, you are realized.
The point is that
it is there. The inner space is there. And for all of us, it is there because that is my nature. And the moment you become aware of that, it never leaves you. Then it's an automatic process of abidance.
Is there a degree, Shekharji? I mean,
no degree. No, there is no degree.
At what stage? When will I get to know that? I mean,
yes,
there is a certain level of awareness.
You will know it while doing Shravanam itself. It'll catch you. You'll catch it during Shravanam. Realization happens while you're listening. This is what is awareness, and that's it. I am all the. How come I missed? See, then you ask the question, how come I missed it all the time? Because you're always that. Only thing is, I have not been able to focus on my mind on that. My mind has been dispersed into so many directions and so many areas. I have never been able to, like Vivekananda used to say, that focusing and concentration leads to final realization of the mind. That is why they all called it Samadhi Abhyasa.
So Nidhi Asanam is important? Nidhi Asanam leads to Dhyana?
Yes. Nidhi Asanam is also called as Dhyanam. What it means is, in Nidhi Asanam, that is the last step. You see, what happens is, you have understood this is Atma. And you have understood this Atma has got nothing to do with the body, nothing to do with the mind. And it is the pure awareness. Then what you do in Nididhyasana is, you drop the notions that I am the body. You see, the prarabdha keeps on hammering us. It will keep on pulling me into the world. The prarabdha will keep on, I become a karta bhokta again. So in Nididhyasana, what you do consciously is, you repeat that knowledge which you have heard in the scriptures during Shravanam, you repeat it in meditation. Just repeat it.
Basically, contemplate. Contemplate.
Yes.
Think about it.
You think about it, and then you say, I am not the body. You use the Nirvana Shatkam mantra. Nirvana Shatkam says clearly, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, neti, The moment you get into that process in your mental composition, your Nididhyasana process has started. The thing is, it is all a development of the human mind. And they all take time. It comes in stages, and it does happen. It is a slow process, but it happens. When you're constantly studying the various scriptures, this process gets enhanced. You see, this is where the evolution comes, evolution of the human mind. Okay, is there any other question? There's no other question. Okay, if there are no other questions, I think it's time we should close. If you have any questions and if you want to discuss personally, you can always write to me, and I can have one-to-one session. But otherwise, the questions you have asked today are very beautiful questions. And let's continue the study next week. Good night to everybody.
I hope it's fine in Singapore, Shekharji.
It's the same situation all over the world. There is no difference.
No difference.
All of us are in the same mindset as you are in Delhi. You are in Delhi, you have a mindset. In Singapore, we have the same mindset. It's all insecurity, a feeling of insecurity is there with everybody in the world today. You know, it is not, it is because it is universal. It is, but it's okay. We are all, you know, maybe in different stages, but it's all the same.
Universal karma.
Yeah, it's a universal feeling of insecurity in today's external world situation. Anyway, these type of studies, they help us to take our mind away from the other problems which we face, and this gives us the strength. The study of the Upanishads gives us the strength of the mind. The more we study, the more we are able to face, yes, let it come. Whatever comes to my mind, I am this Atma, I am not worried. I am that, even whatever happens, I am this pure consciousness. I have total faith in the Veda, which tells me I am pure, I am free from the body. I have 100% faith. Whatever happens, I am free, I am not affected. Keep that knowledge in your mind, and then let the day come. We face the days as they come.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.